Welcome to National Conference on Modern Logistics for Metals and Minerals, second edition. We all know that the first edition was very much successful, which we did back in February 2019. So before we start, all the leaders who are present out here today with us. Festive season is on. I can't hear the applause though. I thought that we all were very excited because of the festive season as well. So can we have a big round of applause? Although it's early morning today, I completely understand. But yes, thank you so much, everyone. So we all know that this conference serves a platform to discuss, debate, and innovate for the future of logistics and steel industry. The synergy between these two sectors, or we can say that, are correlated with each other because of the efficient logistics in the industry. We all know that logistics is the backbone of steel industry, ensuring timely delivery of raw materials and finished products. Not only this, if I talk about the steel industry, which provide the essential materials that derive logistics, infrastructure, and equipment, that is the major factor which is playing in the Indian economy as well. So according to the World Steel Association, the global steel industry is expected to reach at $2 trillion by 2030. This growth is driven by the industrialization, development of infrastructure, and of course, the government initiatives which government is promoting these days. Not only the steel industry, if I talk about the logistics industry, then it is expected to grow by 2030, it is expected to grow by $15 trillion, which is a great number. So can we have a big round of applause for all the government initiatives which is promoting the digitalization? Of course, the e-commerce boom has played an important role in the development and growth of this entire industry. Ganpati Bappa, more Isha, then this entire day would be very beautiful for all of us. And now I request Ms. Monica Bachchan Dovri to please present the token of respect and appreciation to all our guests who are present on the stage today. I request our industry leaders to please accept it from Metallurgic PMS. Thank you so much. And now something about the Metallurgic PMS. We all know about Metallurgic PMS. It doesn't need any introduction. But yes, I want to specify 2 or 3 liners to all of you once again. So Metallurgic PMS, headquartered in India, serves as a market intelligence firm specializing in Indian steel and mining industry. Established in 2015 by Monica Bachchan, a first-generation entrepreneur, Metallurgic aims to elevate the presence of women within the steel and mining sector. As a prominent mass media organization, Metallurgic orchestrates events for the steel, mining, and logistics sectors. The company provides daily news coverage spanning steel mining from ore, coal, logistics, steel prices, and both Indian and global news. So can we have a big round of applause for Metallurgic PMS as well? And now I request founder and CEO of Metallurgic PMS, Ms. Monica Bachchan, to please come on the podium and set the context for today.
Mr. Rajagopalan, Managing Director, PESML South Asia. Mr. Dinesh Shastri, Managing Director, TM Logistics, International Logistics Limited. Mr. Sharad Verma, ED, Head Area North, Conquer. Mr. Yatendra Pal Suri, Consultant, Chemtech Foundation, and Chairman of CII Corrosion Committee. Good morning, everyone, and namaskar. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you in today's conference on modern logistics for metals and minerals. This is the second edition of Modern Logistics, what Metalogic is organizing after 5 years. I'm delighted to see so many esteemed leaders and professionals from various sectors of the industry and various sectors of the industries gathered here to discuss one of the most critical aspects of our business, which is logistics. A warm welcome to our distinguished, I hope we will have our chief guest, Mr. Bhupati Raju Srinivasa Verma. We are deeply honored with all of your presence, and I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our sponsors and partners, without whom this event wouldn't have been possible. Special thanks to TM International Logistics Limited, PPS International, and Prime Ispat, and PESML from Finland. All the way, the team of PESML has arrived for this conference. This conference is special for so many reasons. Not only because we are delving deep into the ever-evolving landscape of logistics for metals and minerals, but also because it's happening right before Diwali, the Festival of Light. There's an air of excitement and anticipation, and I'm sure you will all carry the positive energy of this festival into our discussions today. As we come together in this vibrant space of ideas and innovations, I would like to start with a very simple question, which I want to ask you. How many of you feel that logistics is now a central driver for competitiveness in the steel and mineral industry? Please raise your hands. Okay, 100%. What do you think is the biggest bottleneck in the current logistics system? Would you like to share what is the biggest? Yes, please. Reduce the cost of logistics. Anyone else? Lack of understanding. Reliability. And one more. Yes. Collaboration between? I can't hear you, sorry. Lack of infrastructure. Quality service, lack of quality service providers. Okay.
Modernization.
Yeah, so we have one more last comment. Yes. Online deliveries. Yes, yes, yes.
Monica.
Sir, from where? Yeah.
It's modernization also.
Sorry?
Modernization.
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to show you one short clip. Please take a look on the screen. So this is the video which we created 5 years ago with a lot of research, what kind of logistic solutions we should have. These are the challenges what you see and the solution which we think can be very helpful. For coils, slurry pipeline, containers, coil handling and railways, barges, so these are some of the video clips which we have taken from PESML. You see the packaging and how the material is handled. then the waste management, Internet of Things, digitization, very, very crucial aspect of today's logistics. Robotics. So we also have a next session after the inauguration on factory logistics. And of course, environment. And that is the heart of the country, isn't it? These questions aren't just for discussions, but to make us reflect on the critical role logistics plays in ensuring efficiency, sustainability, and growth in our industry. At Metalogic, we have always believed in bringing something new to the table in every conference we organize. Whether it's about exploring green steel, the latest innovation in iron making, or today's focus on modern logistics. We aim to spark conversations that push us to think more deeply and find solutions. Today, we will be covering exciting topics like role of railways in bulk material handling, containers logistics for finished material, and the emerging trends in multimodal transportation. The focus today will not be on the existing challenges, but also the huge opportunities that modern logistics presents for the metal and mineral sector. The future is bright for those who innovate and adapt. Let me repeat it again. The future belongs for those who innovate and adapt. Before I wrap up, let me ask you one last question. How many of you already implementing digital or automated solution in your logistic chain? Please raise your hand. Very, very few. See, we can count. I would love to hear about your experiences throughout the day, whenever we will be breaking the sessions. I truly believe that the conversation we are going to have today will not only help us overcome existing challenges, but also shape the future of logistics in our industry. Once again, I welcome you all, and I look forward to the insightful and engaging discussion we will have throughout the day. Thank you so much. And before I go off the stage, we will be having some quiz questions starting from now till the end. Please listen to the lectures very carefully and participate in all the quiz questions. Thank you so much.
So I think we have got a surprise test for today, where we'll be asking some quiz questions. Not only quiz questions, we have 2 or 3 more thrillers for you, so please be ready, since Diwali is just around the corner. So we have planned a lot of things today, and those things are very much interesting, trust me. So before we start, I would like to invite Mr. Yatendra Pal Suri, Consultant, Chemtech Foundation, to please set the theme for today. Can we have a big round of applause, gentlemen?
Thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you. Our industry leaders on the dais, Mr. J. Rajagopalan, Mr. Dinesh Shastri, Mr. Sharad Verma, Ms. Monica. So welcome to you for the conference. And I'm the, small story about Metalogic. 15 years back, a young girl who was not married had a vision. She started Metalogic. And in last 15 years, as you have seen, from A to now, it has reached the zenith with just about 12 team members working along with Monica. I wouldn't call them the dirty dozen, they are the lovely dozen. And Monica plus 12 makes it 13, so it's not the unlucky number, but very lucky number for the steel industry. I would like to request you all to give a hearty, clap for Monica and her team for organizing such, events which have never been done before. And hats off to Monica and her small team. Now coming to the theme. Let me begin by unpacking the concept of logistics. So by looking at these 7 R's. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, UK, defines them as, please listen carefully, getting the right product in the right quantity, in the right condition, at the right place, at the right time, to the right customer, at the right price. So there are so many rights that we all need to remember. And if we make sure that all these rights are ticked, then I would say you are a winner. This definition is useful because it explores and explains the function of logistics, getting things moved about in a synchronized fashion to meet a specific criteria such as timelines, condition, and the correct place. Logistics is a crucial aspect of modern business operations as it involves coordinating various activities essential to ensuring that goods are delivered to customers in a timely and cost-effective manner. The logistics industry in India has evolved over time and has now become an indispensable aspect of businesses in various sectors, including manufacturing, retail, and e-commerce. The three major functions that are critical to the success of logistics operations are transportation, warehousing, and inventory management. These three functions play a vital role in ensuring that goods are delivered to customers in a timely and cost-effective manner. Transportation, as you all know, encompasses all modes of transportation, including air, sea, rail, and road, and also rivers now. The transportation function is responsible for ensuring that goods are transported efficiently, safely, and at the right cost. Cost is very important. It also involves managing the coordination of shipments, tracking and tracing of goods, and obtaining custom bonds in compliance with regulations and customs procedure. Now, talking about transportation, I will just give you two my personal experiences. I was in Dubai, and the driver of a car was taking me to a company. It was a company car, and the driver was a gentleman from South India. He said, "Sir, you are from India, and we are now, speeding at 130, 140 on a road in Dubai. And this road was built 15 years back. Why is it that in India, within 15 months or 15 weeks, the roads become absolutely, bad? Why can't India make roads which are as good as we have roads in Dubai?" Now, this is something, if any friend is there from NHAI or from Ministry of Roads and Transport, I think we need to seriously think on this. And also, I must tell you, in 2006, when I was appointed as the Managing Director of Outokumpu in India, a company from Finland, I had gone there and they took me to their mines in Kemi, in the north of Finland. And when I went to the underground mines, which is almost 600 to 700 meters below the earth, the roads are as good as our expressways. And when I entered their office down below, it was as clean as any five-star in our country. So that is the kind of, infrastructure these people try and create. And my name was there on the computer, which clearly showed to everybody in the organization that I was there at that moment in the mines area. So there are a lot of things which are happening abroad and which we need to learn from. Warehousing, it involves managing the physical. It also involves managing the flow of goods within the warehouse, including the movement of goods from one location to another and the preparation of goods for shipment. Now, here again, since I am also co-chairing the Corrosion Management Committee at CII, I must talk about, corrosion, which can happen in warehouses, and more so in warehouses in the coastal areas. So, and also for shipments which are going abroad from India in containers or in loose containers, LCL loads. If the packing is not adequate, by the time not everything that you export is stainless steel, you export a lot of alloy steels and carbon steel products which are machined, and they need to arrive at the destination in a good condition. So therefore, the packaging aspect also is very, very important. And there are companies in India who are ensuring that if you pack them in a given way, your products will never get corroded, even if they are there for a year or more. So particularly, you have to look into this aspect if you are operating in the coastal area. Inventory management is the process of overseeing the flow of goods and materials from the source to final delivery. The function involves monitoring and controlling inventory levels, ensuring that the right goods are available when they are needed, and reducing the amount of excess inventory, because inventory is a cost. So inventory management is critical to ensuring that a company can meet customer demand while maintaining an efficient and cost-effective supply chain. So these three functions are critical to the success of logistic operations, and they must be managed and coordinated effectively in today's competitive marketplace, whether you are an established business or a startup or into trading. Now, I'm also happy to see that the logistic industry in India has come a long way since pen and paper tracking, with cutting-edge technology now driving innovation and efficiency. In today's fast-paced world, businesses need to stay ahead of the curve in logistics management, which means embracing modern solutions. Traditional logistics management practices were mainly focused on manual processes and paper-based documentation, supply chain operations. We have all been through this, I'm sure. All of you who are at the senior positions now, when you were young, these issues we were facing. In contrast, now, modern logistics technology automates many of these processes, resulting in more streamlined workflows. Modern logistics involves utilizing technologies such as GPS tracking for vehicles and packages, automated warehouse management systems for efficient storage and retrieval of goods, and real-time inventory monitoring systems to reduce stockouts and optimize ordering quantities. Now here again I must take you to Outokumpu in Finland. You know, in Finland the population is just about maybe 6 million now. It used to be 5 million in 2006 when I went there. So naturally, if you have few people in the country, you need to automate. And the extent of automation is to be seen to believe. When I went to Outokumpu and I was taken to the shop floor, I saw unmanned vehicles carrying, these 25, 30-ton huge coils. I mean, automatically they were identified, automatically they were stored at a given place, automatically they were being lifted by, robots and those, unmanned vehicles and taken to the mills. There was no human intervention. In fact, no scope for human intervention. Therefore, if you have said that your material will arrive at a given date, the system used to ensure that you get the right product at the right time. So I've seen that level of automation in Finland in 2006, and today, 18 years later, only 3 or 4 people raised their hands. So, of course, there is a lot to be learned and a lot to be implemented when it comes to modern logistics. Modern logistics also relies heavily on data-driven decision-making. With real-time information from sensors and other connected devices, modern logistics managers can proactively identify potential disruptions or bottlenecks before they occur. This is also very important so that you can decide on alternatives. Another very important critical difference is advanced analytics tool. This is the modern way of doing business. Advanced analytics tools that enable predictive modeling for better demand forecasting and inventory management. This allows companies to optimize their supply chains for maximum efficiency while reducing cost. Coming to the program today, these sessions have been designed to focus on the most important areas of logistics management. We are now in this session on policy and efficient logistics, wherein we have presentations on government initiatives, multimodal logistic parks, and integration with rail, road, port, and last mile connectivity. The session 1 is on factory logistics. Role of automation and digitalization is going to be talked about. The session 2 will be on pipes and tubes transportation for liquids and gas, also touching on design and material compatibility. The session 3 is on bulk transportation by rail as well as containerized transportation by Indian Railways, keeping in mind capacity enhancement needed for 300 million ton target of steel production by 2031. Session 4 is focusing on roads, highways, and warehousing. The final session is on shipping, ports, and waterways, emphasizing on railroad networks, port locations, river terminals, as well as infrastructure to store and handle hazardous materials. Sorry. So as you can see, we have covered all areas which are currently, giving us some pain areas here and there. So let us get ready to listen to 24 most enlightened experts in 5 sessions and get enriched in knowledge on what modern logistics is all about and how we can adopt modern technologies to help Indian steel industry to be cost efficient and a preferred, reliable source for steel globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we go ahead, we have some industry numbers, or you can say that recommendations. So can we have a big round of applause from Ms. Manu Cholia, Industry Analyst, Metallurgic PMS. She'll be recommending us for the efficient logistics for India on the basis of some industry findings.
So good morning everyone. This is my Manu Cholia, Industry Analyst from Metallurgy Project Management Services. So thank you for gathering here today for our national conference on modern logistics for metals and minerals 2.0. This topic is particularly very important as the logistics sector is the backbone of any economy, ensuring the smooth flow of goods and services across the globe. In recent years, government have recognized the importance of this sector and a lot of initiatives has been coming in this sector. So without wasting much time, because as sir has already said the note and all on it, I'll be first talking about the sector is also grappling with some inefficiency. But why it's that so? Because of the cost. Which the government is taking initiatives, we can working on that purpose. If you can see on the numbers, Indian transport and logistics sector is expected to increase at a CAGR of 4.5% from 2022 to 2050, reaching 15.6 trillion tons kilometer. And as per the numbers in H1 2024, Indian logistic and industrial sector has seen a strong demand growth with significant rent increase in major cities due to high demand in warehousing and light manufacturing. But I want to, before I go on to my next slide, I want to talk about the inefficiency. Why are this inefficiency in the logistics sector? Because of the unorganized sectors which are dominated by the logistic market, because basically the road transport and the warehousing. Road transport is particularly deeply fragmented out here. And if we can see that basically Indian freight movement is heavily skewed towards road transportation, which moves around 68 to 70%. And whereas on rails, I think the share is only 30%, and for shipping 2%, and for water, for air only 1%. So, and the Indian model mix is highly skewed towards road transportation. As you can see, as I've mentioned, 68 to 70% on road and rail, and whereas globally, it is only 25 to 30% by road transportation. And we are lying 68 to 70% dependency on road transport. The current infrastructure development with a lot of initiatives, you can see, road has been developed to 67.71 lakh kilometers of road network, rail 1.32 lakh kilometer of track has been there, shipping 14 major ports are there and 217 non-major ports, and airports we have 137 airports. So as the government is working on it, there has been developments, but there lies a lot of inefficiency, as I've mentioned. Now I'll be shifting towards with respect to steel sector. So Indian steel sector logistic cost represents 16 to 18% of their total revenue. So global benchmark is around 10 to 12. So our steel industry is already facing a lot of cost disadvantage. Current transportation expense, if you can see, it's 8,000 per ton, which is almost 28% of the factory cost. So you can see the cost advantage. And in Odisha, one of the examples, there is no supply of Indian railway rakes for iron ore movement from mines to port. And for that, they are forced to use the third party GPWIS rakes at high premium. As per Niti Aayog, we had seen, this is a, you can see on the numbers, the cost advantage, we are lying at 80 to 100 USD per ton. So these are the factors in which our Indian steel industry is facing a lot of issues in the cost disadvantage as compared to, so there where we are getting the cost disadvantage globally, the competitiveness, here is where we are lagging behind. So if, as I've mentioned in my previous introduction, only the current model mix of steel and iron. In steel and iron, but we are basically focusing on the railways. Rails are used more, but the cost for rails are higher. Coastal and inland waterway movement globally is 25 to 30%. Large producers transport their iron ore by rails, and whereas smaller players are using road for approximately 30 to 40%. Slurry pipelines are there, but still if you can see, we have only I think 2 to 3 slurry pipelines, and some slurry pipelines are still under process. From last so many years, because of some other reasons, it cannot be developed. Because of the land, they're not getting the land acquisition. That is one of the major issues which they're facing, the slurry pipelines. And because if you can see, slurry pipeline will play a very major role in the transportation of iron ore. Andy Rao sir is here, he'll be talking on it later. So, as I mentioned, railway freight loading, if you can see, basically for railways, we are using coal is basically used for transportation. And the cost, as I mentioned, the cost is very high. Government initiatives, we all know there are a lot of policies which are there. National logistic policy, Gati Shakti, multimodal, Sagarmala, slurry pipeline, Bharatmala. And they all aim at to promote seamless movement of goods, to reduce the logistic cost, to provide implementation of infrastructure project. A lot of things have done for slurry pipelines, but still there is a scope of improvement on which collectively everyone has to participate in it, so that we can move forward and the vision of getting a single digit number can be obtained. These are a few of the scope for improvement which we have been we have gathered. That is implementation gap. Though there is, the policies are very ambitious, but timely execution is some of the problem, or coordination, maybe because of the governments, different, I cannot say, but like some other reasons, there is the implementation gaps are there. For that, the project gets delayed. The more the project gets delayed, the cost increases. Infrastructure, still, there are a lot of investment in infrastructure, but still we are lagging behind. Many regions still have lack of sufficient logistic infrastructure, which leads to congestion, inefficiencies, fragmented systems. As there are a lot of sectors to implement robust tracking system, IoT, to provide real-time data on cargo movements. There is, but more interventions, more supply, for that the disruptions in the supply chain, that all things can be tackled. Then incentivize for private players. As we can see, the private players have been investing in airports and all, but for rail, the collaboration of the private players are not, we cannot see that much of participation. So I think that should be promoted so that we can more enhance the rail efficiency. Automatic braking system, as the Kavach is there, but still we have seen there are a lot of, we listen about the news and all, but it's just a suggestion which if you can see globally, they have done the fencing in the rail, so if that we can adopt in our country also, so that such incidents can be somewhat stopped. Intermodal connectivity, freight growth rate. The freight growth rate is basically to cut down the cost of logistics. So we have to work on it. Then go green, we are working on, I think, electrification, but we have to more improve the efficiency for harnessing solar powers at railway stations. The adoption of RESCO model may be considered pan-India, not only to harness solar power, but also to utilize railways land parcels. This is my last slide. I've rushed very fast. So this is enhancing coastal shipping efficiency. Basically, if you can see, we are not working on our coastal shipping, as we have to increase that. We are only at 2%. So infrastructure investment, there is need to invest in upgrading and including modern cargo handling system and storage options to reduce the turnaround time. Then simplification of procedures, streamlined customs and regulatory process for coastal shipping is required, to minimize delays and improve the operational efficiency. Then promotion of short sea shipping, that is very important. We have to encourage the use of coastal shipping for domestic trade through incentivization and the awareness campaigns so that we can reduce the pressure on roads and rails. Then integration with logistic hubs, we can have to establish logistic parks near ports to facilitate easy transfer of goods between different modes of transport. That is promoting a multimodal approach. And last, the training and skill development. I think we have to develop training programs. We have to focus on coastal shipping operations, safety and environmental management to build a skilled workforce. That's very important. And this was my last slide. So as I have mentioned, we have done a lot of things in the sector, the government, the industry, everyone is working a lot on it. But thus, as I mentioned, there is some scope of improvement on which we have to work. I think that is very important. The people, industry people, the people from NHA, everyone is there. So I think we have to basically work on the timely execution of all the policies which has been implemented. We are on the vision of achieving our one-digit logistic cost, and I hope we'll be soon on that track. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Manu. Well said that we'll definitely do the execution on timely basis, which you just mentioned here. Of course, we all are trying, and we are on the same page, but thank you so much for sharing some insights with us today. Now for the industry note, I request Mr. J. Rajagopalan, MD Pestmill South Asia, to please come over and share his insights on the industry. Can we have a big round of applause, gentlemen?
Thanks to Metallurgics for organizing such a very much a need conference. As you could see when the question was asked, how far you are convinced that automation is there in all the industries, hardly any hand raised. So that shows that this conference is very purposeful, and we got to give a big applause to Metallurgics for doing this conference, because what we need is training and information, because lack of information gives you a lot of inhibition that automation is not friendly, automation is costly. Automation is very friendly if you see the capital cost and life cycle cost together. Okay, I also should thank my company Pestmill for being a pioneer in this kind of industrial automation with the motto that keep monotony from mankind. So because the monotony is one which reduces productivity, which reduces safety, and also which could reduce quality. So that is the reason our company's policy is, please keep monotony out of mankind through automation. So we should also thank my colleagues who have come all the way from Finland, not because of anything, because this topic is so important. My company has been kind enough to nominate them to share some information with you. There is no marketing or sales intention here. It is mainly purely sharing information. The option is yours, depending upon, because automation is kind of a very convenient staircase. So nobody can go from the bottom to the total automation, because it has to do with the reflex of people. So depending upon the manpower, the employees, so you can't adopt automation all the way from bottom to the top. Always it has to go step by step. So now I come to the actual topic of this day. So this is what is modern logistics. So good morning, dignitaries on and off the dais, and ladies and gentlemen. Coming to the Industrial Revolution, you all must be knowing, in 1784 was the first Industrial Revolution, where the water power and steam power was introduced, where the first power loom came into existence. So then came the second generation in 1880, wherein the mass working and question of mass production And also, you must have seen a movie called Modern Times by Charlie Chaplin. So that reflects about the second industrial revolution. And the third industrial revolution is showing the electronics and also in inventing the PLC first time. And that was in possibly 1929 and also in 1969. So this, there was some basic PLC models like what could be programmed was developed in early 1929-30, but during the World War time. But actual PLC came into the industrial use only in 1969. And in 2000, what we have is the Industry 4. So Industry 4 is one which has gone to the cyber technology and also to, especially with regard to certain extent, artificial intelligence. If you see the magnitude of complexity from the first revolution, second revolution, third revolution, and fourth revolution. So it was so simple to understand, first revolution. Second was somewhat easy. Third was okay. But fourth is difficult to understand. So the human tendency is, what you can't understand, we feel it is not good for us. So that is the reason this conference is organized, to make it familiar with all of you. So with this introduction, brief introduction on this industrial revolution, that's why everybody says Industry 4, Internet of Things, so IIT, IIoT, IoT, all that. Mainly because with IoT or IIoT, the supplier can control his equipment right from his company, and he can operate even the equipment with the help of IoT. So which is the advantage of Industry 4 as well as IIoT. So now coming to the point, the objective of this topic and the speech is, actually the prime objective of this introduction is to clarify that automation and digital transformation in logistics are vital and essential today. In addition to being cost effective, and it be necessarily a future material logistics system, especially in this artificial intelligence era. While there are headwinds, what we mean is resistance, and tailwinds, what we mean is the supports are there. For everything there is headwind and tailwind. Okay, so the main headwinds are from the company, because the company management immediately thinks they would have consumed all the budget in the main equipment. So when it comes to logistics, even not only in India, even in US, so when it comes to logistics, they feel, why we could go for a contract? Why should we go for this automation? So that type of headwind is always there from the management side. Is it only on the management side? No, on the workers' side, on the union side. They feel, oh, this comes, we lose our job. So that is also the headwind. So they feel, to the extent possible. So these two becomes goalkeepers for what Monica wants to do. So they are the goalkeepers that they should not get this because it may come in their way. But we have to educate that it is not the case. These are all inhibitions, purely inhibitions. So what happens is the automation gives you life cycle savings and also safety, also quality. At the same time, for the labor, gives a decent job so that they don't go for a traditional ILSA job. It is not there. They can do a decent job. That is the advantage of that. So this way, what is in front of us is management of change. So management of change is a very difficult task. So how could it be achieved? So from a conventional thinking to a modern thinking. So in a relay, when some people have run a relay, but others don't want to run the relay because they are not convinced. So how to do that? That is only possible by training and by giving case studies. So through the case studies and training, guys, please look here. He has got this experience. They got it. They adopted it. They were not left to lurch. They are well off. So that way, you also follow. You will be better off. Because it is not, no more it is required that there are certain monotonous things can be automated, which is to the benefit of the company, which is to the benefit of people. It will always lead you to a better productivity. So now, especially with regard to the factory logistics, there are 5 aspects. One is the vertical storage system, which is a compact storage system, which could, for example, a coil can be stored, of a full coil can be stored in 7 square meter in floor storage, whereas in a vertical storage system, it could be stored in 0.7 square meter. So that way, because it is being stored vertically. For that, they are all tracked automatically. The crane which handles them is called stacker crane, which is not a crane, it's a computer. So that way, this is an advantage in this vertical storage system. The second one is automatic tracking and YMS, yard management system, where cranes are automated. They can be automated in 3 levels. So that way what happens, the crane operator, even if he is there, he knows which item is where with yard mapping. And that way he is able to do actually a mailbox, so that he is able to load, keep the load ready before the truck comes. But which truck comes, which rake comes in time, that will be discussed by my colleague, Mr. Karthik, during this session 3, and how to minimize the time, because most of the trucks and even rail siding are all delayed mainly because they think if they go to the steel plant, they have to devote 2-3 days for getting loaded. So these are all is a handicap. That's why trucks never come. So the fourth point is here, the automatic coil car system instead of the conventional transfer car system. The automatic coil car system can identify which material is going where, and also it could deliver very quickly without any mankind. And then the fourth one is the automatic packing lines with robotic packing line. And the fifth one is robots and AMRs for handling system. So these are all the factory logistic points. With regard to the other areas like the pipe transportation, you know, the slurry transportation and gas transportation and also petrol and also from the refineries through the tubes, pipes is very economical system, most economical system. The next one is, of course, the road transport, the rail transport and water transport. So you'll be surprised. In very recently on 8th and 9th, I was in Capitol Hill in US. We were discussing about the different transportation system in US. So they have maximum utilized the rivers. For example, Mississippi River, Ohio River, all that is best utilized for transportation. For example, Nucor Gallatin sends their material to Nucor, West Virginia by means of Ohio River and by barges. The only handicap there is when you transport through water, you have to extra pack the material with 55% lapping so that the moisture doesn't affect. Otherwise, this is the cheapest transportation system possible. So the maximum exploitation they have done on the rivers, which I don't think we have done that much. North, the rivers are deep enough and wide enough. So, deep enough and wide enough. So the second thing is on railways also, for example, Association of Iron and Steel Engineers, they coordinate with railways and conduct every quarter a meeting telling all see, for example, who knows which sequence the wagons come. The wagons come in any sequence. So it becomes very difficult for shipping people to load, because one place you have to load a plate, the other side you have to plate a sheet, other one coil, the tackle has to change. So it takes a time. The rake, they give 3 hours time for 60 wagons. Otherwise you have demurrage. So you can't have candy and eat it too. So this is where benefit is there for the thing, other side the demurrage is there. So that way there is modern logistics is necessary, and also this sequencing of rail wagons as per the shipping arrangement in the shipping bay should also be available from railways. So that way this combination of the steel industries and railways help on expressing the difficulty, and also the type of wagon. What is the use of sending a box wagon for coils? So that sometimes it happens. Some coils are kept in the boxes, you must have seen. So these are all can be avoided if there could be an interaction. That I request Monica ji to see to that an interaction session of railways, at the same time the road transport. See, do you know 10 or 12% of the area of US is road. So there, if they say from Dallas to California, Los Angeles, they can go in 1.5 days, which is about maybe 1,800, 2,000 miles. They do that because they can do that, because there is a 6-track system like that. So we also have some main highways to come, but that is also to be concentrated, and there should be kind of a coordination between transportation and our road transport and also government with this steel industry. Maybe the same way for port. Port, lot of misunderstanding, strikes, and especially with regard to the headwind, I forgot to tell about union. So union is also one of the headwinds. So they block it sometimes. They are also to be educated. So we conduct some training program on automation to union also, which is also necessary. And possibly Monica ji should see that even the unions are educated on this. It is not to steal your job. It is to give you a decency on your job. So I think with that, I think I should wind up, and I should thank you for the patient listening. And if you have any questions, you are free to ask later. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir. Very well said, that automation plus the training part. Because I think training is very much important, not in this industry, in every industry. Of course, we are still training ourselves for the mobiles, for the laptops. We are in the age of digitalization. Yeah, training is the basic part, or I should say the key role which is important here. Apart from it, sir has mentioned that railway. So I think railway continues to be a vital mode of transport for the steel and logistics industry. By addressing the challenges and investing in infrastructure and technology, the potential of railway can be fully utilized because of the cost-saving part. And of course, Indian Railway, we have a good connectivity across the globe. Yes, we can do more and save our cost. So moving ahead, I would like to invite Mr. Dinesh Shastri, Managing Director, TM International Logistics Limited, to throw his insights on the current topic.
Dignitaries on the dais and eminent leaders of the industry in the audience, my friends, colleagues, gentlemen and ladies. It's the festive season, so we'll start with greetings for belated Happy Dashera, Shubha Vijaya, and in advance Happy Diwali. In the spirit of the occasion, you know, every discussion such as this one talks about possible problems and lot of solutions. And sometimes one can't help but note a sense of despondency. Oh, things are not so good. But you know, in the spirit of the festivals, I would like to suggest and look at and sort of exhort everybody that let us look at the problems as an opportunity. Because within these problems lies the big chance for us to make a difference to the mankind. And thank you, Metallurgic, for organizing this conference on modern logistics. I have a small difference, or rather a suggestion, is that the phrase would have been better if it was called logistics in modern times. Because logistics is as old as mankind. In fact, the word the logistics did not existed when the logistics happened. Logistics, if you look at the root, it comes from a French word called logistique. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, but pardon us for that. Which itself has a root in a word called loga. Loga essentially is lodge in English, which means storage. So ironically, when we talk about logistics, we normally talk about, you know, transportation of point A to point B. But the word owes its origin to essentially storage, which is a very important sub-activity of the entire transportation process. So therefore, when we use logistics today, we use every activity, we define as all the activities which go into planning and execution of movement of materials from point A to point B, which includes first mile, last mile, storage, intermediate transport, multimodal, etc., etc. So as I was saying, logistics goes back with the mankind. And apart from all those fancy definitions of logistics, my simple definition of logistics is any mechanism which brings supply and demand together, and vice versa. So when we go back to the Stone Ages, when the man had just learned to move from 4 legs to 2 legs, and that is itself is a form of logistics. And there also essentially it started from nature. It started from people observing that logs and pieces of wood float in water, and then how can we transform and use that? It was only in about 4000 BC that the first wheel was invented, which is possibly the biggest invention in the field of logistics. But ironically, it was not invented for logistics. It was invented for pottery. So it took almost 1000 years for people to discover that the potter's wheel actually will help us in moving ourselves and our material faster, safer. And it took 2000 years of evolution before the wheel moved from just a round disc of wood to a hollow thing. Then the iron scope, hub and spoke thing appeared around 2000 years back. And only about 300, 400 years back, the current version of tube sort of tires have come in. So essentially, logistics has been with us for a long time. And as the previous spokesman, Mr. Palan, said that he talked about the history from the industrialization and how in current situation in Industry 4.0, what does logistics mean, and essentially how does AI and digitization can play a big part. But one important aspect that has happened during this whole journey is that the initial journeys all took their source and force from the nature. Whether we used horses, and essentially that is what led to the term horsepower, or we used wind, which was essentially used for sails for our boats. We moved on to bigger and bigger ships, mightier and mightier engines. We brought the world together. The whole concept of supply, demand, and things changed. Because early civilizations essentially developed along rivers, because for transportation, rivers is required. For food security, rivers are required. But today, situation is not like that. Today, China manufactures for the entire world. This has brought a lot of consumerism. This has brought a lot of cost control. This has brought a lot of predictability, yes. But at the same time, it has caused some problems. And what are those problems? One are which, Suri Sahab missed the topic. And there are quite a few suggestions. Simple logic just suggests that anything which involves less and less use of energy, which is not natural, will be better. So moving from roads to rail is a solution. Moving from rails to waterway is a solution. Coastal, short ships, all are solutions, yes. And how do we transform and use our collective thoughts around the whole system today will decide what modern logistics will be tomorrow. Today, I don't think that all of us are agreeing that we are in an ideal world. We all have seen, and even the presentation from Metallogic clearly indicates that there is room for improvement. Not just if you say...
Since India is a hub for railway, so we can also go towards railway modes as well. And of course, sustainable practices, carbon credit we can also use to reduce the emission of green, or to reduce the damage of green gases in the atmosphere. As per the study which I just noticed as of now, the green damage is about 7% as of now in the environment, which we are aiming to reduce in the upcoming future. Of course, government is taking a lot of initiatives, and we guys are also discussing here. I hope we will be doing the execution, and next time when we meet, we will be coming up with the strategies for sure.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.